Symbolic interactionism is one of the three sociological theories that try to explain how society works and why it works. Symbolic interactionism was thought up, I guess, I don't know, it's a better word than I can think of, by George Herbert Mead, who was an American sociologist from Chicago, Charles Horton Cooley, who was also from Chicago, and Harold Bloomer. These three men looked at the world in a different light than the other sociological theories did. So while functionalism and conflict theory are both macro theories looking at large patterns of society, symbolic interactionism is a micro theory, and it looks at individuals or small groups and how they interact with each other and what that means for the greater society. Okay, so the thing about symbolic interactionism is it's all about meaning. How do we interpret meaning? How do we figure out what is what? I know, it sounds kind of crazy. So symbolic interactionism says that we will evoke meaning of things and therefore behave in a certain way. I know, it's kind of weird, and I'm going to get to it here in just a second with some examples. But if we interact with each other based on how we interpret each other and the things around us, then our behavior will depend on our interpretation. Okay, so here, let's just do this as an example. Let's say that you go out with somebody for 6 months. All right, you dated somebody for 6 months and you break up. Yeah, I know, it sucks. We've all been there. So you break up with this person. Now, somebody 2 months later says, hey, whatever happened to so-and-so, your ex? You will have this feeling and this interpretation of what that means. You may think about your ex in a very angry, hateful manner. Oh, I don't care. I don't care what they're doing. You may, have gotten over some of those feelings of the breakup and be like, oh, I don't know. Who knows what they're doing? Or maybe you've been able to become friends with that person. And so the thought of your ex gives you a different feeling like, oh yeah, they're my friend and they're doing their thing. All three different interpretations of that, what we call a symbol, which is a symbol is just anything, but the symbol of your ex is driving that particular emotion and or view of what they are. Okay. Hold that thought because we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it, but that's kind of where we're going. Constructivism takes symbolic interactionism and tweaks it just a little bit, that says that we not only do we evaluate something and interpret it a certain way, but we can construct this idea of things whether or not it's real to other people. Okay, so when we construct an idea of what things are, a lot of times as time passes, those constructs will change, okay? So let's say in the 1930s, the idea of going to college, all right? In our society, the idea of going to college in the 1930s wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, it was a big deal to go to college, but it wasn't like everybody needs to go to college and everybody needs to get a bachelor's degree and everybody needs to blah, 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 blah in order to be successful and happy. If you went to college, great, but it wasn't really a societal push. Fast forward to 2005, it's a push. We got placement tests, we've got SATs, we've got planning in high school, we've got scholarships to encourage people to go to college. And now it's like, if you don't go to college, then, which has then shifted away from people going into the trades and that sort of thing. That's functionalism. We'll get into that another time. So How society then over time thinks about certain things is also symbolic interactionism that we buy into. All right, let me get you to the examples. All right, so I'm going to show you some words. And I want you to think in your mind what, not that you would think outside of your mind, but I want you to think about what this could be, all right? Okay, sports car. So picture in your mind what a sports car is. What do you think of when you hear that word? Davenport. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you what it is, but what do you think it is? What can you conjure up that you think that would be? What about criminal? What do you picture there? How do you feel about that word? What does it tell you? And healthy food. What is that? What emotions does that evoke? What thoughts does that bring about? How do you interpret that symbol of healthy food? Okay, so you're going to think about a sports car, a Davenport, a criminal, and healthy food. All right, so you got that in your mind? Okay, you can always pause this if you need some more time to think about it. When I think of a sports car, I think of a 1968 convertible yellow Mustang. Why? Well, because there was this guy when I was a freshman in high school who had one, and I just thought that car was so cool. And every once in a while, he'd take me home from practice because I loved riding in the car with the top down. It was just really cool. So for me, that is a sports car. For you, it may be something red, maybe something silver, maybe something black, maybe something foreign. I don't know. Okay. So how we interpret the symbols will then decide how we're going to behave about them. All right, let's talk about a Davenport. Did you come up with that one? Did you figure out what it was? It's a couch. My grandmother, God rest her soul, always called the couch a Davenport. I never knew why. I think it was a brand name at some point, kind of like Lazy Boy. I'm not 100% sure though. But Davenport was the word that they used for couch. So now you know, there's a little trivia for you. Criminal. Everybody probably thought of something different. I think of Brock Turner, rapist and convicted rapist. That's a criminal to me. And healthy food. I couldn't pick just one, so I went and found a whole big picture of it. I wish I could put like Cheetos and pizza on this slide, but unfortunately I can't. So when we're talking about symbolic interactionism, not only are we talking about the symbol itself, you know, the healthy food or the sports car, we're talking about how we feel about it and how we react to it. You know, look at this picture. What's happening here? How are you interpreting what is going on in this photograph? Where are they? What are they doing? How do you know? You know, pick out what it is that you can think of that you see in this picture that would tell you that this is probably not a funeral. I'm gonna guess it's not. Is it a sporting event? Maybe, but I don't see a lot of teen wear going on there. The people in the picture appear to be not teenagers, and you know, they're mostly Caucasian people. So what do you think could be going on here? And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on in this picture. But the way we interpret it will then drive how we behave, okay? If you're looking at this picture and you're thinking, oh, well, this must be a KKK rally, that's going to give you a different feeling and different behavior towards this than if you're looking at it thinking, oh, it must be a NASCAR race or something. I don't know. So to sum up, symbolic interactionism, the symbol is anything, an object, a feeling, whatever. And then how we interpret it then drives how we behave towards one another. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It is It is complex and simple at the same time, but just remember that everybody, every single person interprets things in their own unique way. We don't see everything the exact same way, and therefore we may react differently to the same thing. So keep that in mind. Okay, that's symbolic interactionism.